All right, welcome everyone. How do I press all these buttons? No, I can just go to that one. There we go, and get rid of my timer off there. Get rid of you. Okay, I'll get rid of that one as well. I've just been setting up all my new slide thingies for today. Get rid of that. Okay, welcome to the 45D weekly live stream today. Good to have you all here. And I just got my sound checked by Mahina. That was good because her computer started going off. Video start, hit like. Oh, Gordon's onto it. I love that. Yeah, that's the one. Once you jump on, hit the like button. 6 like. Oh, I love this. I don't even have to sad anymore. Everyone knows I get high off the little thumb flying up on my screen. Awesome. So, shut up, Mahina. Shut up. Don't look at me like that. Anyway, if you're here, if you're watching, please let me know who's out there. Say hi where you're watching from. And this is a full-on Q&A Friday Live. We just recently put up the docking video, Stern 2 single-handed with a crosswind. It's done really well. It's had 8,000 or 9,000 views in the whatever week that it's been up. So that's cool. And it's had a lot of comments on it as well. So I want to definitely address some of the questions and run over the maneuver. And basically, I had about a dozen comments over the last 6 months saying, hey, when's your next Q&A docking session? Because I did one of those for a flotilla for Jason Chaff and his crew, a couple of years ago. And people have found it really helpful. You can still see that live actually on the thing. So I thought, okay, I was not ready for a live stream this week, to be honest. So I thought this is better. We're getting back to some sailing, to some control, some docking and maneuvering, everything, and that would be helpful. So excellent. Who we got? Knut's here. Knut, hey, I was thinking about you today. We need to book in that follow-up call after our training because I want to do that while it's still fresh for you, but it's sunk in now. Who else we got here? Nico's here. Finally, yeah, Nico, you missed last over, man. What the hell? You missed last over. I was hoping you'd be there, but anyway, I get it. Peter is here from Florida. Hi, Peter. Welcome to the stream. Boyan's here. Hello, Boyan. Kia ora. Kia ora. Hello, Egg. Mahina's here as well. Sorry, a little inside joke there. Anyway, okay, great. Yes, please, says Knut. Yes, absolutely. We need to do that. Okay. So pretty much we're just going to roll into this. I'm going to run the cutscene and then we're going to come back to it. Soon as I figure out how to do that. Oh, there's so many buttons on this thing. Camera. No, I've rejigged my Stream Deck so many times that anyway, and I've rejigged them in a rush. So when I come to hit the button that's supposed to be there, it's no longer there. Anyway, Oscar Drozda is here as well. Is that Drozda? Drozda. Nice. Okay, welcome everyone. So the Stern 2 docking single-handed, that's this video here. No, I'm still not doing it right. I've got to hit locations first. Oh, this is just, there's a lot going on. I need to do as usual, I need to do a complete rejig on my buttons of my Stream Deck. So this was a Stern 2 docking that we did with the crosswind. It's Sharpen Up episode 20, I believe. And I did it on this Grand Soleil 44 and did this at Zladen. Now we had about a 12 knot cross, no, 8. I think I said it in the video actually. Let's call it 8 to 9 knots crosswind as we approached here. You can sort of see, the flags going as the boat's coming in nice and slow there. So first of all, we're just going to run briefly, scrub through the maneuver and talk over it, and then I'll answer some questions and we'll go to the questions and comments that I had on the live stream, on the video itself, and answer those even if I've answered them before. So that's where we're at on that one. Button. Okay. Oh, Nico, yeah, of course you rewatched it. I love it. I love it. Though I didn't see any comments. Sylvia is here as well. Hello, welcome. Okay, let's go down over this maneuver. So I'm just going to keep running these little clips of the maneuver as it goes. So on the approach, whenever you're going to approach a dock or anything like that, you're going to plan on docking, I always do a pass through. Okay, just about always do a pass through, especially if it's somewhere new or it's somewhere I'm not familiar with. So in this shot here, we just cruise up and I'm getting quite close to the dock because I want to experience what the wind's like at the dock. I want to experience what the wind's like on the approach and the turn and everything like that. So then I do my turn here. I think, right, where is roughly do I want to end up on this dock? Of course, I'm also checking the depth on the depth sounder as I come through and just feeling confident and comfortable about what's going on. How is the wind reacting on me? Okay, then we turn downwind, start to set up for a nice long run in reverse so that I can get a clean line, get a feel for the boat, all of these little details that are really important. Okay. Then once we get down to that point, obviously the setup is already done. I'm not talking about the setup here. If you've got questions about the setup, can answer those later. But I'm just talking about the maneuver at this point. So we get right downwind there, set up parallel with the dock, and I'm stern to the wind at the moment. This is this crosswind, which is slightly off the top right corner of the screen in this case, but it's stern to the wind, which is our absolute control position. I hope you've got yourself a drink and you're sitting down. It is Friday after all. With our stern to the wind, I'm able to then adjust my course and see how slow the boat is managing to go. I'm able to go that slow because I have my stern to the wind and I'm in control, moving just enough that my rudder has bite, has control, has effect. Now I'm pointing my stern above, so when I say above, upwind, up dock of the spot that I actually want to be at, because I want to do this whip around with the stern in order to bias the bow up into the wind so that I've got control over it. And so that it goes further than I want to be, so I've got more time. This is all about creating time. Now, this is 100% a moment for the windward stern line. This is all about the windward stern line, the windward control line. I've got another video. If I hear spacebar, will it break everything? I'll just pause that there. I've got another video, and I'll ask Mahina, please, can you get, it's a Sharpen Up episode with it's called Control Line. Just search Control Line. Mahina's going to post that in the, oh, Nico. I'm going to post that in the comments so that you can watch that after or whatever. And this is using a control line. Okay. A couple of comments coming in there. Nico, I just realized now that you did this without fenders out. I had fenders out. I got that one on the stern. There's even one on the port quarter. Like, I'm not an animal. Actually, I think there's fenders down the starboard side from where Blair was doing coming alongsides. Welcome back, David. He's here. Okay, so using this windward control line, this is really important. Mahina's going to post that in the comments for us, so you can watch that afterwards or whatever. But that is all about. We had a bit more wind that day, so it was actually, you can very much see the effects of the control line, how to work it. So at this point, I would say I left this turn too late. I should have been further out from the dock. I did not need to cut it this close, okay? It did not need to be this close. Thank you, Boyan. Oh, I just missed the comment for the button. Boyan says, there's a ball fender in there. Exactly. But yeah, for sure, you probably should have some fenders down the port side if you were not 100% confident in what was going to happen. So we'll play this through. Now, see that whip around, that's full lock to port, almost full lock to port on the rudder. And then at this point, I center the rudder, engage forwards, and then I actually go starboard rudder. And you see how that acts as a stern thruster. And now I'm biasing the bow upwind. All the momentum of the boat, of the bow of the boat, was upwind at that point. So it's got this moment to stall. All right, then I'm back onto the boat. I have my control line on and I can engage into forwards in order to take the pressure onto the control line and then hold the boat in position. Now, if I had a 15 or 20 knot day, then that bow would have already started like really peeling down, and I would need to be further from the dock because there's going to be movement in this, down away from to leeward, and I'd have to really manage my throttle in order to get it back upwind. Okay, I'm working on getting that filmed. I will. It's all about, if it was 20 knots today, I would have had it, but it wasn't. So, and then of course, while I'm powering against that control line, I can secure that port stern line as well. And then get those two on. Now that's the whole basis of the maneuver, is those two lines. We do look like we're very close to the dock there. I mean, we are. You know, I'm half a meter, or meter probably, a meter away from the dock. Now center rudder, and I'm powering against those two stern lines to really maintain control. You can see by the wind that it's directly on the beam, and it's blowing about 8 to 12. Now those flags are definitely 10 knots. Okay, those flags are straight out at that point. So probably 8 gusting 10. Let's go with that. So in that maneuver with two stern lines on, you can just hold that position easily. Just then, because I've got my two lines on, I'm releasing away from the dock a bit, and I eased my port quarter line to bias again my bow to windward. The reason I want to bias my bow to windward at this point is that I'm going to go and pick up my windward lazy line. So by having it further upwind, I'm able to get a little bit tighter, a little bit easier, as opposed to if it was already downwind, then it's going to relax and peel downwind. So that was the main point there. But because I'm picking this line up on my own, I'm not overly worried about that. I'll do the adjustment once the bow line is on. Okay. So that's the maneuver. We're just going to scrub forward until my drone starts running out of battery, because I bang on about something there and it finishes there. I've got another one, but I thought that was the important part. So just scrubbing over that again, slow approach, stern to the wind, cruising up like that, and then finding my position. Where's that last bit? This is the absolute crux of it, is the turn. Now, around we come, do a full whip around. I'm probably doing 1.5 knots in reverse, not a lot, but while the momentum of the bow is swinging up into forwards, and wheel my helm around to port at that point. Sorry, to starboard at that point, because that pushes over the rudder and swings the bow upwind, pushes the stern to port. If you do not do that, the boat will just fall off the other way. You'll take away all of the good work you just did with your positioning. So that's the crux of the move. All right, I'm going to go back to my main screen here, hit that button there. So throw down some questions. Right now, I'm going to go to the comments section of the video, but I'm not set up for that, so I'm kind of ad-libbing here. Mahina is sending me, okay, Mahina is sending the comments, so I don't have to share a screen for this. I was going to go to YouTube and read them with the share screen, but no, that's easier. Oh, you're going to send it where?
Where do you want it sent?
Are you going to post it in the chat? No, you could do. That would work, because then I can just put it straight up. Can you post it in the live chat? Is it? Yeah. Is it long?
I was going to post the whole comment.
Oh. Sorry. Please stand by, everyone. I don't know. I don't know the answer. Yeah, just post a comment. Post a comment. Yes, we'll do that for the first one, and then I'll go to YouTube. Go to YouTube like the plan was for the second one. Okay, that's all good. You tell me which one it was, and I'll bring up my Chrome share and I'll share it on there. Which was the first comment?
The first comment that asked your question.
Yep.
Was Captain Givati.
Captain Givati.
Givati.
I captained 9 days ago. Very nice. That starts with very nice. Okay, cool. Here's my Chrome share. Is this going to work? Oh, don't you start that. Go away. Disconnect. Good. Okay. Yeah, come on guys, throw some comments down, throw some questions down. Let's look at this now. So, Captain Giovati said, very nice. There are tons of videos out there demonstrating, I need to read more, demonstrating and explaining how to stern tube, but this single-handed demo is brilliant. Thank you, I really appreciate that. And perfectly executed. How many takes were there really? Answer in the comments how many times you think it took me to do that maneuver on camera and get it right like that. Okay, and then we'll answer that afterwards. I would mention that you only use a windward lazy line, and there are usually 2 available, which you would want to use if you place a long sail as possible wind shifts. Thanks to the great video. Yep, excellent. 100%. Whoops, 100% on that one. Yes, if you've got 2 lazy lines available, for sure, you'd use 2, okay? There is not usually, in the summer, there is not usually 2 lazy lines available on piers like this, okay? At Zladen or at a town pier when you've got all the boats stacked up for a 44-footer or something like that, you're probably only gonna get 1. When I show, I'm about on the edge in Mila Felice, like generally, especially if it's going to be wind, or if I request it from the guys at 55 feet, they're going to give me 2 lazy lines if they've got them. But the further you get on in the season, the more likely are they're missing a few from people wrapping props and stuff. So yeah, they're not always. So that is actually something that's really important if you're chartering in Croatia or whatever you expect. You go to a marina, like an ACI marina or Martinez Marquis. Actually, Martinez Marquis won't necessarily give you 2. They'll give you 2 if it's needed. If they're spreading out boats and less boats because of weather coming in, for sure they'll give you 2. But they're so well sheltered, they'll probably only give you 1 and they're well done. But just knowing that you probably only get 1. So don't freak out if you only get 1 line. And yet when you left the marina at your home base, you had 2. You can ask, but you're probably just going to get 1. Boyan says, if you were doing this coming in between 2 other boats, would you change? Yes, like this. Yes, I would. I would be doing a longer tracking turn. I mean, for one, if you're coming in between 2 other boats, you've got 2 lazy lines, bow lines already sticking out. You could not do the turn, obviously so close to the dock because of the length of the boats, but no, you would do a longer tracking turn. It would still be very similar. It would still be very similar. Yeah, you're going to go stern to the wind, you're going to track, you're going to do that turn and then straighten up. Of course, you're just not going to slow down as fast because you've got to be straighter as you go in between. And you get the shelter from the yachts either side of you, which stops your freeboard acting as a sail. So yeah, for sure. Peter said, take your time just sipping on morning coffee. I love it. Very good, Peter. Welcome. Nico says, you made the maneuver look very easy, that no one has any questions, just rock up. Line through the ring, done. I bet it was only take, just the one says thing. Yeah, it was 1 take. That was the first. We didn't have time to do it more than once. And I think, as I said, it's another point is, if I had done that on video and it had gone wrong, I'd post that. I'd just have more to talk about and we could see how I recover. That's the reality of it. I'd prefer that it had gone wrong because I was still filming and all that sort of stuff. Boyan says, I had 2 in mast lengths on 44 foot, but that was a huge storm coming, so they wouldn't have packed in as much. That's the one. Nico says, Boyan, with more boats there, the easiest thing is to park yourself upwind of another boat, lean against it if you drift off. Yeah, 100%. And I mean, unless another boat isn't parked up properly, says Mahina. Yeah. Yeah, or if, well, you mean if they're not finished parking or if they're just parked crap?
If they're not tied up tight.
Yeah, yeah, can probably, yeah, if they're not tied up tight, that's a thing. But yeah, you'll be planning, and the way they stack them in the summer, I need a button. I've got to configure my Stream Deck for a button. Hang on a second. Chrome share. Where's my locations button? Because otherwise I'm going to keep wasting time on this. Run scene, main, locations. That's the one I'm using for that. Okay, so now I've got a locations button there so I can hit that. Okay, so let's just look at this briefly here. So if we were in this position, so and then you were bringing another boat in. So the reason I did this video is because sometimes you're the first boat on the dock. And if you're the first boat on the dock on that day, even in the summer, and I've had this, and this came up because I was on a tour and we came to starting gate at 25 knots, and we had to do this. And it was stressful. I was freaking out because it was Mila Felice. She's 26 tons, 23 tons. It's serious. I had 23 knots gusting whatever on the day on the beam in Stardigrad coming onto that dock with no one there. So I had to get this windward control line on, and we had to really push against it. Do you want space over here, Ben?
Yeah, because you actually, sorry, don't mind.
Yeah. Check. There we go.
I'm just butting in because you actually have another comment that says that you very seldom have so much room on a mid-marine or harbour. So
there we go.
That mid-marine must be exercised and practice otherwise, whereas this is a good practice to have.
Who was that? So Volker
Koenig
9376. All right. So yeah, he commented that you very seldom have this much room, and it's not as easy. I 100% disagree. Right? Very seldom do you have this much room with a crosswind, and it's harder. Period. Okay. If they're trying to put you on a spot, and so when I would come in here, I haven't got a lazy line on even on the end of this, and my mouse doesn't show on this. I realize when you come in here and you can go upwind, get your spot, and then the boat starts to drift down on the windward side of the other boat that's already tied up. Well-placed fenders, all that sort of stuff, and a nice slow drift, and you just press against the other boat. That is very real over here. It's not, there's no shame in that. There's shame in having crap fenders, and there's shame in coming in and hitting the dock. I'm not trying to say be shamed about that, but that's what's going on. We rest against other boats here. So I disagree with that. Statement from them that this is much easier. Here you've got to get your timing right. You've got to use your control line well, and yeah, that's just the whole thing behind it.
Boyan's got a good question.
Boyan says, I guess my question is, how do you compensate for a cross overshoot the turn, or just faster? Okay, both. So as I had another video. I don't think I've hang on. I don't think I've posted this yet. But I want to try and find it.
Just let the dog out.
Yeah. You have to do both. You 100% have to do both. You've got to come in relatively quick because otherwise you can't even turn the bow into the wind, and you need to overshoot it. So when I had 25 knots, I overshot it by, okay, is my arm working here? Okay, so you want to come in and you want to end up here, stern to the dock. I came in and I overshot it like 40 degrees so that I then stop the boat, I do the little stern thrust kick, and then at this point, 25 knots, I was setting on my bow thruster for 5 seconds to stop it falling down while we're getting the stern control line on, get it secured so I could drive against it. By the time I got to here, finally get the control line on, you drive against it, this shunts this way, freaks you out, and then you power up at full speed in order to bring the bow back into the wind. It is stressful. So yes, overshoot, you have to go a bit faster, otherwise you're not going to be able to get the momentum up with your thruster. I just need to move over a bit so mine has got some space. Oh, I get a bit worked up just thinking about that maneuver.
Yes, it does. 100% was. Yeah.
I actually want to get an iPad with a pencil, a new model one. I did this in my last Stern 2 docking thing, but the iPad was so old it kept crashing the app and it was worse than it should have been. So I want that because then I can actually draw on my screen. It's a whole thing. If I get 2,000 euros of super thanks, that's what I'll buy. But until that day, Boyan says, thanks, Nico, that's great. When nobody is there, why not go for a triangular configuration on the windward side? What?
Triangular configuration of what? Of the line to the dock?
Yeah, I don't quite understand, Sam. If you could elaborate on that, I'd love to hear about that, because I'm just not quite computing. Triangular configuration on the windward side. Yeah, I just don't quite understand. If you can elaborate on that, that would be great. Peter says, as the wind was stern to which? Either wind was stern to which? Also don't quite understand that. Stern to which? In the setup, the wind was on my stern when I went backing up to the dock, and then as we swung around, the I think your next comment answers that. Stern line, which would you use first? The windward. The windward stern line. The windward stern line first every single time except one time. But in this case, with a beam on like this, the windward stern line is the only one that's going to help you. If you pinned on a leeward stern line and then drove against that, you would just pivot the boat. I'm going to use Mahina for this. This is one of my favorite thingies. Turn this way. So if you imagine that me pushing is the engine, okay? Now, if I'm pushing with the engine, I push forward. Oh, don't resist me too much. You'll go forward. Now, if I put a line on this shoulder and I push forward, she's going to rotate this way. If I put a line on this shoulder, these are the stern cleats, push forward, she's going to rotate that way. So whenever you're thinking, which way is my boat going to go, you can just stand in the middle of the boat, push on my back, hold, and the boat's going to rotate that way. So you need it to rotate into the wind. Midships plus stern. You could. I don't think it's necessary. And you're looking at more, it's more complicated than it needs to be. You can certainly use a midship spring later if you want more hold up wind, if it's really windy. If you look at my video, which is preparing for the storm, it was actually on this dock and I had midships lines to the, set up like that. But for the actual approach, no, I wouldn't bother. Mainly because I know I can do that in 20 plus knots, just on the stern line. One line, keep it simple, less to go in the propeller or anything like that. Line from midships to the dock and from dock to the stern. Yeah.
You also potentially don't know what they're going to line up beside you. So a midship line could get in the way.
Yeah. So if you're going to go with all the other boats, that midships line is going to have to go. You can't have it there because you have boats next to you.
Yeah.
But if you are talking about just in the beginning when you're getting set up, then that's potentially a thing. So, I feel like that would be my next. Like, say you try them and you're just trying to get on the stocks turn two. But if it was that bad, you can't do it with a stern line. You might just come alongside and there's another way to do that, which I've also done. Whereas you come alongside, you get your lines on, you get your lazy line out to the other side of the boat, and then you drive the boat back around with your lazy line kind of already in place and tighten it as the boat comes around. That's different, and that we've had to do that in really windy conditions. We did a Karstella that day when fishbat, foxbat, whatever. Yeah, well,
I don't remember. Sorry.
It was a Della 38 or something like that. We did that for them. But yeah, so no, I wouldn't go full on that.
So go back to YouTube comments if no one else is. Look for a comment from @de BRLNR. You haven't responded to it, so I thought it would be a good one to.
Okay, we can filter by not responded. Haven't responded. Apply.
Yeah.
There we go. Aren't you concerned about pilot lines? Yeah, I remember this one. This is great. Aren't you concerned about pilot lines getting into your propeller? You simply drop it without controlling it. You are aiming to getting the mooring line perfectly attached. Very often the pilot lines become shorter and shorter, and hence higher during the season. Yeah. Reply welcome. Thanks. Okay. Yeah. 100%. That's a thing. So what he is referring to, I need to hit that button. I need to hit this button, and then that button. Okay. Let's just scrub through this video. Yeah, man. Some of it. What? No, clearly I don't.
Spoke too soon, sorry.
Is it not buffered? I can't move through it. I can't scrub the whole thing. Well, that's going to be frustrating. Okay, I might have to look at it on YouTube. Best laid plans of mice and men. Best laid plans of me. How do I? No, come on. I was so organized. Nope, obviously not.
Nope.
Forward, fast forward your video. No, not working. Okay, so that's really annoying. Not going to work. So we'll go back to the Chrome share here. And don't press the finish button, Nick. I can go and watch this episode here. Let's look at it. Always have a backup. Okay, so when I come in and we get this line on, we secure the 2 stern lines, and here we are. So in this case, there we go. Glad to see my underwear sticking out. So here I'm pulling that line up, and we change camera there. So I'm pulling it up and dropping it, This is because of 2 reasons. One, I know that the ring that it's attached to is right here behind me. So I looked at it beforehand, and I'm like, no, I'm comfortable that that's a good 2 meters away from my boat. Also, something. What?
You've got double cheese.
Double cheese. Thank you. There we go. Also, if I can go back a touch. If you look at the wash coming from my propeller, coming from the side, you see it's flowing quite strongly along the wall this way. All right, that's because I've biased my rudder slightly to starboard, okay? And then that's pushing more flow out that windward side, which is actually, you can see the other lazy line getting forced away, this one here, forced away by the wash of my propeller. So it's working to, you can see there's more wash coming out starboard than port. It's working to push those lines away from me. The other thing that's really important is when I was pulling up that line, and Mahin is actually the better one to talk about this because she does this way more than I do, is I'm not walking forward very much until I pull up a bunch of line. I need length to drop down. I need to know. If I was pulling that up and it was really tight, what do you do when you're pulling that up and it's really and it's short?
You watch it. No, actually, you pull it all the way up.
Yeah.
If it's really, really short, you pull it all the way up. If I'm pulling it up at the stern and I'm noticing, crap, I can see it in the water, I shouldn't be able to see it.
No.
If I can see it in the water, I'll pull it all the way up.
Like if you can see it, the water coming up to the back of the boat,
then I'll pull it all the way up so it's out of the water. Yeah.
And someone said that is like, why not pile the line? I think I responded to that one. Pile the line on the deck while you're doing it. 100%, that's a great idea.
It's not good practice in general.
No.
Because then whoever's at the stern has a lot of lines to contend with.
Oh, but you could put it just up on full on the deck.
I'm just saying, in general, it's not good practice. If you're worried about the line getting caught on the stern, then do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The person at the stern having too many lines to contend with is not as big a deal as getting it caught in the prop. So
yeah, 100%. So so that's the thing. And I said, look, I don't like to pile it on the deck because it gets the boat really dirty, and I mean that. You can also have a really good, I know we're single-handed here, so it might be, obviously, you can also have a really good dock hand who's going to hold the lazy line out into windward, making sure that it's not going into your prop. And some of them do.
You can also, if you've got a midships cleat, you can also hook it over your midships cleat so that it's tight between the dock and your midships cleat, and then it can drop from there. That is another option.
Yes, you just got to be careful that that's communicated to your skipper or whatever, because otherwise if he eases out on the stern lines and you pull on it, anyway.
I'm not saying tie it off,
just hook it over. Okay, cool.
It still needs to be movable.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, and the other thing that happened here is this was proving that I was very concerned about the pilot lines coming up into my stern because what I did here...
You've already hooked it over there.
I hooked it over the cleat back here because when I started pulling it up, I saw a cross.
Yeah.
And so there was
I saw that. When you pull it up, you see the extra line.
And because I'm looking at that, this is really important. This is why I want you to be in full control, not having to rush. if I have to rush Mahina as a crew member, if I have to say, get the line or hurry up, we're not in control. We are not in control of the boat. So the reason I teach this single-handed is so that you can do it step by step by step with crew, not so you can do it on your own, so that you can slow everything down and you're in control as the person on the helm. So that if she has a tangle, she's not freaking out, going, I've got to get this done, otherwise it's all going to turn to crap and it's going to be my fault. No, it'll be the skipper's fault. Sorry, skippers, it's all your fault. So you need to give your crew time so that they can see these problems. So I saw a pilot line, lazy line, someone called it a pilot line, laying over top. And as I was pulling it up, I saw it lifting under the boat. I didn't know where that was coming from. 90%, it wouldn't hit my propeller. I don't like 90%, I like 100%. So I hooked it over the cleat here. I said, right, I'm pausing. I'm going back to get my boat hook and I'm going to grab it in front so that that one drops down.
And as someone who does the dock lines and not skippering, you need to communicate this stuff to your skipper.
Yeah.
I've seen too many people on this job, not on the helm, and they don't know what to do and they panic and they don't say anything.
Yeah.
Your skipper needs to know. You've got to shout it back at them and let them know what's going on.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely it. And then from this point, Mahin is really good at this. Is like, right, I'm checking that it's all clear again, get rid of that one. And do I stop? I think I stop.
Do you?
It's taut-ish. So I'm pulling to make sure I can see that I'm pulling that line up. The biggest thing is that your crew doesn't grab that line
and walk it forward.
Because then they're pulling the line up into the stern.
Okay, I will pull it and walk it forward a little bit until I'm in a space where I'm comfortable because I'm big, right?
Yeah.
If I lean over and the side stays, not the side stays, the lazy line, the lifelines.
Lifelines and the stanchions and the bimini.
Yeah. If I lean on those, they're probably going to bend.
Yeah.
So I walk it forward enough so I give myself room to lean over and pull as much up as I can.
Yeah.
And then I'll walk it forward again, few steps, and then I'll go and do exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
But I'm normally in too much of a hurry to do it like you do it. You did it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Answered this. See the live stream.
I was gonna put the link for the live stream. Are you just gonna do it now?
No, I'm not gonna waste time on that.
Stream.
No,
please.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
Okay.
You're fine.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Have you got a next one lined up, or should I just look for it? Actually, we've got some comments.
Okay.
You look for the next one. I've just got some comments.
Yeah, you answer those comments. I know what I want next.
Hey, Sasha's here. What up, Sasha? Congrats on the booking. I love it. But then it's not a crosswind. Midships plus stern. I think you're answering someone else there, so that's cool. Carl said, I was about to suggest alongside and pivot around with a strong breeze when you have a dinghy on the davits. Yeah, this is, and someone else on the comments asked, how do you do this when you've got a dinghy on the davits? I will attempt to portray this at some stage during the season.
Well, we've got davits for a dinghy.
Exactly. So we've got davits on my little fleece. Though it's a very special arrangement, so I can lift it up high enough that most docks, I could still do this exact maneuver. The dinghy goes over the dock. It's great. So, and I'm not going through it. I go out to the side. So that's a bit unfair, but I can use the situation to demonstrate it and show the space. So I will work on that. But yeah, you could definitely do that pivot. Graham's here. Nico's saying hi to Graham. Graham's saying hi back to Nico. How would you have done this differently if the wind was coming from the starboard bow? Absolutely no different. I wouldn't have done it any different. Starboard bow, port quarter, anything where the wind was slightly on my side, this is the same way. The only thing I would get very careful, depends where on the starboard bow. If it was like 20 degrees starboard bow, which is basically a headwind, then that would get a bit different because you got to make sure that you never take your bow through the wind while you're on one control line, because then you're on the wrong control line. But anything that's proper starboard bow, 40 degrees and around, exactly the same. Exactly the same. Yeah. Sasha's here. Here we go. Carl, that was me. Exactly, Carl. So, yeah. So the way I was going to suggest effectively, I think I have to demonstrate this in order to go over what I was going to say. Where's my locations? Where's that video? Get rid of that one.
What video? Oh, no, you don't know me.
Okay, that move there. Get rid of that one. There we go. Okay, so on the approach, I'd have my quarter line, starboard quarter line all ready. I mean, always have everything all ready if I can. No, I always have everything all ready. And I would plan to come up and do this next turn. Go away, come back. See that turn there? Have I got? Imagine I was a lot closer to the dock, okay? And I do that spin. I come past to get, say, 2 meters from the dock, 1.5 meters from the dock, whatever you're comfortable with. That position's not really showing it. Let's just wind back to here and I'll pause it. Still not. I'd be coming up parallel pretty much. And then I would do a pause. I can throw my quarter line, my control line, over. You can't see me because I haven't pressed this button. I would do a controlled loop. I would throw my quarter line over the bollard. I can't do this with a ring. Okay, this is over the bollard. So I've got those three big 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever big bollards there. Throw a captive loop over that, and then I would tie that off long, relatively long. Okay, and then I would just manage the boat from pivoting around so that my stern stays relatively close to that control line. And then hit reverse so that I start drifting back down so that I'm in line with where I wanted a control line off, where I'm now affixed to. It still could be a little bit slack at this point. And then take my pressure on and take the weight and then drive on it just the same as I've done the other control line. Now you might end up 4 or 5 meters from the dock at that point. That's okay. You've now got a control line on and you can bring the boat upwind with power, then hit neutral and it's going to spring back, or even a little bit of reverse. Once you're biased up, a little bit of reverse, pull in the slack on the control line, lock it off again, and as the bow starts to drift down, gain power and bring the boat up again. I've done the same thing on the very windy days, with or without the tender, with or without the dinghy, is bringing that control line in and then taking pressure on it again, regaining control and position, and then taking some more in. So that way you can get back into the dock. You get your control line. Maybe you can lasso another one, or yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, I love it. Absolutely. Carl, I want that. I love it. We'll do another session on this. Make a video of me doing this on my Oyster, dinghy on the Davit Singlehanded, send it to you. Yes.
That's awesome.
That'll be amazing. And with your permission, we'll post it and we'll talk about it. It'll be another live stream. Excellent. So yeah, that's what I've got for that particular situation. Yeah. Okay. We're missing. Let's say 45 degrees. The problem is that you set out, you are also getting pushed on the dock. Yeah, but so this was when the wind was on the starboard bow. That's fine. Getting pushed back on the dock is fine because your drive is against your control line. You're pulling hard against your control line. It's actually easier because than a beam on wind, because you don't have as much direct force running the bow away. So you can do it. Yeah, and I mean, if you're aiming to stick, I've got to get my elbow in the right place here. You're aiming to be straight. You come in, you biased upwind, and you hold. If it's a little hard to hold here because the wind is, gosh, look at my arms. The wind's more like, oh my gosh, like that, whatever. Then you can let it drift down, and you can hold at a controlled position, even like this, as long as you've got the scope of your control line, and you can hold in any one of those positions. So. I find it almost a little bit easier because you don't have as much pressure.
I like Sasha's comment.
Sasha says, I think you have to pick a windy day, an empty pier, and 6 hours of live stream to cover all the maneuvers.
And then he says, 2 days of debrief. And like Nico says, come on the flotilla. Thank you, Nico.
Oh, fair enough. Once you've only inserted engine to hold you on the dock, hold you off the dock, yes. Yeah, after that 2 days of debrief. Who wants that? I missed what you said. Yeah. Oh, this is keeping on going. Yes, Sasha +1. And yes, Nico. Will, my question is that you step off the boat while the boat is getting close to the dock, punched by the wind. Yeah. So the big thing about a control line and doing this single-handed, if you choose to, this is a really tough. I'm not saying people aren't capable of it. I get it. It's a ballsy move to step off the boat when you've got wind on it like that. As I was saying, this is more about using your process so that you can do it with crew. But if you do have to do this single-handed, you've got to come up with the experience and the control that you know exactly what that boat's going to do, given the conditions change, given the conditions stay, so that when I bias that boat upwind and I know it's pushing, it's going up a little bit higher, when I choose to step off the boat, I don't choose to step off the boat with more power. I choose to step off the boat with what I think is going to go up with its momentum and then start to fail and then fall back, because that's going to give me a longer amount of time. It's going to give me more stall time to get off and do my maneuver. So,
and can I just say, you have a lot of experience doing this.
Yeah.
You do this frequently throughout the summer. You train people to do this throughout the winter.
Yeah.
You have done it in varying winds. So you have a lot of experience to do this.
Yeah. And
you know exactly how the boat's going to react.
Yeah, like it's not easy. And yeah, with the boat pushing on the dock, towards the dock, like that's where, fenders, all that sort of stuff. Ideally, I did this with rings simply because the rings is the hardest thing to do with it, because you have to step off. You do it, ideally you've got bollards, or you use that big bollard, big ship's bollard, you throw your captive loop, you don't step off the boat, ideally.
Yeah. And Pauline just made a comment, hoping for it to become intuitive with experience, which I think is a really good phrase, intuitive with experience, because it, for you, is intuitive because you have that experience.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to get that experience when you go sailing a couple of times a year.
Yeah, it is. It's really tough. So, yeah. I've gone over it.
Most of those, yeah.
Most of those. Okay, I don't need to talk about the Nico comments and underwear. Elbow, thank you. Elbows, it looks a lot smaller, doesn't it? It looks almost normal.
He's complaining about less, so that should be a good sign, right?
Yeah, but I've now discovered that I do have a floating piece of something in there and I have to go get it sorted
out. David's got a good point.
Just coming on one here. What about when you're stepping off the boat while to put the control line on while the wind is pushing on the dock? That's what we just covered. Yeah, you just like pucker up a little bit in the back or decide not to, right? If it's this bad, you come alongside and you get help.
Yeah. There
is no point in doing this just because.
It's not supposed to be something that you're absolutely crapping your pants over and do anyway.
Yeah. Good way to practice, learn a control line is practice when leaving the dock. Yes, okay, this is what we did with David, we did it with Knut, I did it with Chris, everyone, we do this on the Sharpen Up as well. We do this. Learn how to use your control line, and the best way to do that is when you are leaving the dock, you're just managing it and learning how it moves, easing the other line. Let it go too far and then learn, oh shoot, I've got to let the wind bring it back. So you hit neutral and the boat's going to drift back to the dock. Manage the boat to the dock, let it drift down, gain control again. It's practice, it's familiarity, how much prop, how much wind, how much power, and all of that. Cool, thank you.
I'm going to change the subject.
Oh.
Because you've got 10 minutes to go till it's an hour.
Straight. Okay.
And you've had a couple of comments on this video about how you attach the line to the cleat.
Oh yeah, I love that.
You've got one guy saying, you mentioned not using a cleat hitch. I have just discovered your channel and don't see an obvious mention of it in old video titles. Why not a hitch? And someone else says, congrats, this is certainly a very clever maneuver, but I would never trust the way you are binding the lines to the cleat.
Okay. Yeah, love this. I love this game. I am going to do a very simple video this season on mooring lines and on, like, even more importantly, the ones at the stern. I think they were watching the ones at the stern.
But I think it's any time we're attaching to a cleat.
Yeah, anytime 45-degree sailing is attaching to a cleat. Oh, sorry, we're going to look at my bum here a little bit, but that's how it goes. We do the OXOO or the 0800. Nico, jeez, here we go.
Yes, and Nico knows. Nico knows.
And there it is. Okay, so that's the 0800. Ask me how many times that's failed me. Oh gosh, that's not what I wanted. Oh, far out. Ask me how many times the 0800's failed me. So we pull in, we do a full circle, X, O, O. No hitches, okay? A proper cleat hitch, a 3/4 O, and a turn, a twist over and a back with a parallel line. Yeah, we know how to do it. A lot of people know how to do it. There is nothing incorrect about doing a cleat hitch. I don't do the cleat hitch because it binds and it really holds. I don't want it to bind and really hold. I want it to hold without having to bind, because when I need to ease it, I don't want to be forcing lines, old salty lines or whatever it is, wet lines that have bound up and are really hard to let
As someone who does the bow every single day when we're out on the water together, when you have a line that was fat and wet and you do a cleat hitch with it on the bow and it sits there overnight in summer and the high temperatures and the dry weather, it really binds.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard to get off in some cases. It's horrible.
Yeah.
I don't know another way to describe it. I don't like it.
And I have done them. I have done them before and I will do them again. But the situation is when I just don't have enough space to do what I want to do. And I have to do a cleat hitch or whatever it is. So how many times has it failed me? Twice. It's failed you?
The only time I've seen it fail, not me, but people I'm teaching, is when they don't do it correctly. You need that full turn.
Okay.
You need the cross and then 2 more full turns. People don't pay attention to that first full turn. You need that full turn.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it will fail you.
Yeah. I've had it fail us actually on one of the Sharpen Ups because we had a narrower, brand new, really slippery mooring line, which it was the wrong line for the boat on a big cleat. And it just started slipping. Now, in that case, we just put another X and 2 more O's on it, and it was fine. Okay, but they'd done 1 O, 1 X, O, and I suppose it was like a half, whatever they did, it did slip. Okay, yeah, it slipped.
But when you've got a small line like that, you've got the space to do the extra X and O. That's the one.
So that's what we do there. On the bow, Mahina can critique critique how I put the bow line on now. I'm going to get reviewed. Are you ready for this?
Are you going to press play?
No, I'm scared.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it like that. But you're tying it off loose. You're not tying it off tight.
No, I'm not tying it off tight. I'm not working hard.
The biggest mistake I see people making, and I say this to people who are doing the mooring lines, as well as the skippers, because I see so many skippers who expect the person at the bow of the boat to haul the boat out, and that's ridiculous, is that they make the person on the mooring line work too hard. Yeah.
Hey, person on the bow, mere mortal, go to the bow and pull my 20-ton yacht out from the dock.
That I have highly likely in reverse.
Oh, no, that I've got attached by 2 lines at the back.
Oh, I've seen a guy in reverse, and he's loosening off his line.
Oh, yeah.
And he's yelling at his poor wife on the bow, yelling at her to pull it in further, and she's panicking because every time she tries to loosen to pull it in, it goes back.
Yeah.
And she's freaking out. And one of the best things I watch you do with couples on a boat is reverse those roles.
So go and see how she feels.
The person who's normally on the bow can see what's happening at the stern, and the person who's normally at the helm can see what's happening on the bow. And
have a feeling, have an understanding of what's going on.
The person at the bow should not be responsible for pulling the full weight of that whole boat, whether the engine is in gear or not, forward out to the mooring line.
Yeah.
You need to use everything you've got at your disposal, which includes your things at the stern.
Yeah, 100%. Come back and finish what you're saying. You wouldn't have done it like this. What would have you done different?
Okay, so I pull in as much as I can without hooking it under the cleat.
Yep.
And then I hook it under the cleat. So what I've taught a lot of people, because what stuffs a lot of people up is the slack end.
Yep.
And I teach people, and you'll probably ground me for this, I teach people to put it under their toe.
Yep.
Just to keep the slack end from working against you.
Like at that point right there, you pull a bit of slack in and you step on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't pull it back into the water while you try. Yeah,
okay, but when I step on it, and I'm very, very clear with people I'm teaching, you put your toe on it.
Yeah, not.
You put the ball of your foot on it. You do not put your ankle on it.
Ankle?
Your heel, sorry.
Okay.
Your heel. You do not put your heel on it. You do not put the arch of your foot. You put the part of your foot that you can still.
You can just let it slip.
You can still balance on your heel and lift your toe, and it slips.
Yeah.
So you've still got control of your balance. The rope, if it slips, is not going to make you fall over or catch your foot or anything like that.
Yeah.
That is one of the biggest things, because when I find when people are at this stage, they are getting pulled this way by the loose end. They are trying to, it just gets confusing and it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah. But what I explained in here also is that coming onto the cleat, you need to come on the underside, not around the top, because then you're creating space for your O to go. Now I do.
You almost did it.
No, I was explaining it.
Okay.
You got to watch. You didn't watch it, did you?
I probably did. I don't remember these things.
So I was explaining. I don't want to go over here because with a thick mooring line, on a size that cleat, it's going to bind in. That one turn is going to bind in.
We're having this conversation by ourselves, and I haven't even looked at the comments, but the comments are quite cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's it. And I've only got one O on there. Now, in the video, I'm explaining, I'm not expecting this to take any weight right now. At the moment, the yacht is really close at the stern, okay? It's really close at the stern, and I'm still driving forward on my lines. I need to come out and tighten that line up.
Which I think a lot of skippers or people at the helm don't realise.
Yeah.
That you can't just tie tight and then expect the person at the bow to tie tight too, and you're good.
Yeah.
You've got to actually loose off, come away from the dock, and then tie the bow off and then stretch back.
That's the one. So look, and so I think, did I lose? Yeah, I loosened my windward one first, so it's going to come around and then it catches on the stern. Wind goes a little bit to leeward. The drone starts trying to land itself. It's like beep, 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 beep. I said to Blair, keep it in the air.
Have a look at your comments.
Yeah, hang on, I just want to go. Yeah, okay, I'll move through this.
I'm speeding you up.
Oh gosh.
You can talk all night about this stuff.
Yeah, I know. Probably will. Where are we going? Good way to practice. Learn to Carl, when you get you ready for this.
Neoflow.
Neoflow. All right, cool. I need a place where I can actually put it up.
Okay, skip Neoflows for a second because his isn't in relation to the IO. We can come back to that. You've got Graham, Nico, Graham, Carl.
Okay, Graham says, I have an 080 fail in cold weather. I think it's mostly due to the line being large for the size of the cleat. Yes, and it just peels around. That is an issue for sure. Nico says, since seeing your OXOO, I can often find both versions on my boats.
Which I like
cool.
because that's looking at the situation and figuring out, okay, what does it need here? Which one am I getting? That's what I like.
That's it. And look,
that's smart.
Just because Nick Muppet from 45 Degrees Sailing says don't do and I don't say don't do cleaches on your boat. I do not say that. Do whatever you want. It's your boat. You're responsible. You're in charge. It's all on you. You cannot come back and say, Nick, you crashed my boat. Unless I was on your boat and I crashed your boat. So you do what you're comfortable with. If you're not going to sleep because there's an 0800 on the bow,
then don't do it.
That's stupid, isn't it? So It's not wrong.
Be
Cleat
smart.
hitches aren't wrong.
Be like Nico.
But it was, be like Nico. Everyone should just be like Nico. Be like Nico,
Yeah.
I like that. Let's remove that one there. Graham says, I'll try the 0800 this year. This season, I do not like locking a cleat off. Agreed. Carl says, I do OXOO and she has 29 ton. Yeah, it's the one. That's it. It doesn't matter what we've sailed, 59, 60 feet, all that, it's all the same. Pretty good way to do it. Yeah, and look, just it's you go with what's needed to be done. Okay, we're going to go back to a question. NeoFlow said, once the control line is on, rudder to wind or rudder to lee? Very good question. And potentially the answer is neither. Rudder straight. Okay, if it depends what you need. It depends if you've got a single rudder boat. If it's a twin rudder boat, it doesn't matter. If it's a single rudder boat, right now, we'll see what I do. I'm pretty sure I just center my helm. Because at the moment my rudder is all the way to starboard because starboard to windward because I used it to shunt my stern. Now, as soon as I engage in forwards, it's going to kick my stern one way, and I'm pretty sure, there it goes. I'm going to center my rudder. I obviously do not care. I'm in neutral, so it doesn't matter. But effectively, it depends which way you want your stern to go, okay? If you turn to starboard, or to windward in this case, your stern is going to go to leeward. If you want your stern to go to leeward, then you do that. If you want your stern to go to windward, then you do that. But effectively, I just want my bow to come upwind and to be in control on that quarter line. So I will, most of the time, like I just did there, I think, center my rudder, and I use the control lines and the power in order to move it up. There's me centering my rudder so that the stern comes along and sits straight. So that's the best answer I've got for that one. All right. And then I bang on about something else.
It doesn't sound like you.
Doesn't sound like me at all. All right. So I do OXO. When do we get the video of Blair doing it? You have to ask Blair. No, please don't. Please.
I don't know.
No, I'm not sure what
we were saying everyone be like Nico.
Oh, everyone be like Nico. If leaving the boat, I do 0800 and then a hitch on the stern lines before hanging the line.
Sorry, David.
Must go. Keep your great advice. Thanks, Carl. See you later. Thanks for joining. Back to the crazy frog. If leaving the boat, and I do 800, then I do a hitch on the stern lines before hanging the rail on the lifeline. Just less likely of the O-slip. That's it. And
that's exactly. You do what you're comfortable with.
And it's not going to bind.
Yeah.
Okay, that is it's a fail-safe at the end. But if you put that hitch, the way the proper cleat hitch, it pulls so much weight. Okay, now there are situations where I will do it. I think I've said this in other videos, is if I'm like the big catamarans, they're 46, 48, 52 ton. We often do them on those boats, okay? Because the mooring lines they're very thick and the cleats are very big, and you don't have the space and everything. But because you've got such a big line, you can actually manage it. So, and you'll watch the catamaran guys, they'll do those hitches all day, all night, and they don't bind that much because of the thickness of the line. I've done it. I still do 800s when I want to, but it's, that's just how it goes. I still have a cry
when I can't do an 800 because I don't like hitches that much.
Rudder, to be honest, it really depends on what you want your boat to do and understand how it works. 100%. What did I just do?
You just clicked another comment.
You have to exactly. You have to understand how it works. You kick your rudder to port, your stern's going to go to starboard, just like we talked about before. And then he says,
of course,
on the conditions. That's the one. Nico, cut it out. I mean, don't.
Fiend.
Blair's not even online.
Where is Blair?
Where is Blair?
He's working.
He's probably working. He's on the chainsaw, I'd imagine. Thank you very much, Eco. Stop it.
What?
Nothing. Not sure. Okay, look. This has been really, really great. I'm going to ask Mahina to point out one more question off there that's a bit closed and quite an easy, simple answer. If you have any more to say on this, Drop your questions in now. Please, if you haven't liked the video, hit like now, but we're doing well. We've got 20 likes and we've had 30, 40 people watching. So that's really cool. Thank you for joining. And also I want to know, like, I don't really know where to go with my Friday live streams at the moment because I'm doing the itinerary planning. We're doing the charter series and stuff. And I was like, what am I doing today? Was this good? Do you want more of this crap or do you want some different crap?
When you say more of this crap, you mean like interactive Q&As?
Yeah.
On a loose topic.
Yeah, and with Mahina here translating me, so it works better.
Okay, last question that is actually posted on your video that you get a lot of flack for across a lot of your videos. From Andrew Farah 71, he says, great and so controlled. I believe we have to mention at least the life jacket and also having a way, brackets, ladder, bracket, coming back onto the boat if you fall. Which is a valid comment.
That one?
Yep, that one.
Okay. Crime ship. And we'll get rid of the flow. Get rid of that one as well. Get rid of that. They're all showing up. Don't know why. It's weird. Yeah, look. It's shush, maybe. There we go. All right. Yes. What did I say?
You responded to him, said, fair enough. So on that, no life jacket, that's obvious. I very seldom wear one when manoeuvring. And knowing I am planning to step off an unsecured yacht, I agree that it's a good idea. Spot on the shots, the white packet on the rail at the stern.
Oh, yeah.
This is a deployable emergency boarding ladder. It has a line down to the water for this very reason.
This one here that you can't see because I've got my...
That's right here, isn't it?
Oh, I've got one on both sides. Oh, no, that's the auxiliary bracket.
No,
yeah, Mahin is much smarter than I. So that there, that is the... that's a deployable boarding ladder, and it's got a line hanging down so that you can pull it and pull that deployable ladder out. So yes, you should always have something like that. Life jackets. I do get a lot of flack for this because I don't wear my life jacket a whole lot, especially when I'm big boat sailing. It's always there. It's always very accessible, but if I fell in the water, it's no longer accessible. I'm probably not going to I'm not going to change that much. Mind you, I teach my daughter now, she's got to wear a life jacket, so we put our life jacket on to show her this is what we're doing.
You do wear life jackets more now than you used to.
I do.
You encourage more use of the life jackets with your training than you used to.
I do.
Based on comments from YouTube.
Probably, yeah. And look, none of us are invincible. And
really? Sorry, had to. Couldn't help myself.
Run along. Look, none of us are invincible, and there is, wear life jackets. I live on boats. I work on boats a lot. I'm confident in the things that I do here, and in situations where I think I've got a backup and all that sort of stuff, where I'm doing basic stuff, I'm not going to wear my life jacket in those. And if the wind is up, and if I'm in these situations where I could fall, all this sort of stuff, I think life jacket is 100% a good idea, and I will, as Mahina says, I wear it more. So.
And I do think it's worth pointing out that it is the Adriatic, so it's a very different creature to falling in when you're, say, for example, doing winter sailing back home in New Zealand, where it's so cold it's actually a danger. Yeah, I mean,
it's still I think that cold is still a big deal here now.
Okay.
So I don't want to use that as an excuse, but yeah. You better use good excuse for not being here. Yeah, I agree. Thank you from Peter. Yeah, we're going to sign off shortly. Mahina, keep your train of thought in check. I love it. Graham looks like he's off as well. Okay, have fun the next streams. I'll be missing them until April. Dude, where you going? Oh, pushing Nico's post. Want to see Blair's one. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Sasha. Brilliant. Hey, look, thank you everyone. It's been a great stream. It went really fast, so I kind of like the format of this one too. As I say, if you're watching this after the fact and you've got more questions, please put them down. I'll link that video that this is pertaining to again. I think it goes up there. Why can't I see what there? I think it goes up there, so I'll link that for the after thing, and I'll link it at the beginning as well. And yeah, we'll pin the comments to the top, which is the control line video. If you've been watching and you're finding this interesting, finding this useful, using a control line, I'm going to link that video and post it to the top of the comments and the episode that we're talking about as well.
I mean, I think this is also too a good demonstration of, if you think Nick's doing something wrong, or you're wondering why the hell he's doing something, because you can't figure out for the life of you why he would do it that way, ask us. Somebody here asked a question and then said, not trying to critique you, Nick, just always wondered this.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Ask the questions. Call Nick out.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And look, I've done things on videos I didn't plan to do. Whatever. You know, like sometimes you just do stuff. It's the wrong choice, or it doesn't
Well,
really
it's not
matter.
necessarily what you do after with hindsight.
Exactly. So, yeah, remember, I've done a lot of those things. I've made a lot of mistakes, and there's things I've done before that I won't do again. So
that's why you're good at what you do.
That's why I'm good at what I do.
All right, Bella, we'll come get you.
All right, the dog's barking. The child needs us, and
it's dinner time.
It's dinner time. Thank you very much for joining. See you all. Oh, Graham's sailing to Guatemala. Bahamas to Guatemala.
Woo-hoo.
Great.
Be safe. Have an amazing time.
Wear your life jacket.
Now Nico wants to go with you.
Yeah, brilliant. All right. Ciao, everyone. Thank you very much.